addressed, and cases that are going to impact the lives of the citizens of this country. I'm sorry, my digressions have been a little too much. I think I must conclude because it is a... Equity, as Aristotle said, is the correction of law where it is defective owing to its universality. It tempers the harshness of law to bring a more equitable result. Mediation goes a step further. It brings about a solution which the parties themselves develop and accept and which harmonizes their interests and ends the dispute. For the legal profession too, mediation has its benefits. Indeed, two great lawyers, statesmen, Abraham Lincoln and Mahatma Gandhi, extolled it. Mahatma Gandhi, in his My Experiments with Truth, said, and I quote, "My joy was boundless. I had learned the true practice of law. I had learned to find out the better side of human nature and enter men's hearts. I realized that the true function of a lawyer was to unite parties, riven asunder. The lesson was so indelibly burnt into me that a large part of my time during the 20 years of my practice as a lawyer was occupied in bringing about private compromises of hundreds of cases. I lost nothing thereby, not even money, certainly not my soul." This is the father of the nation speaking to you. And he says he practiced for 20 years. Today, if you look at the lawyers, how many of us are really committed? Don't you think, I would say, Mr. Chandhok is one of our finest lawyers, one of the most eminent persons I have been associated with. I have known him for about 40 years now, I think 40 years, close to 40 years. But how many of us are really missionaries in the cause of justice? Are we not really becoming mercenaries? And are we not supposed to do some introspection? As Mahatma Gandhi said, "I did not lose anything, and not even money, certainly not my soul." How many of us can today put your hand on your heart and say, well, I have performed as a lawyer in a manner that I have not lost my soul? I think there is so much that the bar also has to do. And I think this is one occasion where when you help parties in bringing about a settlement among them, you save your souls. You save your conscience. You stay clean. And that's a great satisfaction. I've been telling students wherever I had an occasion to talk to them that as a lawyer, the satisfaction is not from the money that you earn as a fee. You will never remember a case because you are paid the highest fee in your career. No. You will remember a case because you thought of an original point, a point which you thought was because of your ingenuity, and you presented it beautifully, and the judge accepted it, and it perhaps changed the law. That you will remember. The satisfaction is from the fact that you are a part of that process by which justice is eventually done. It is that satisfaction. I did something by which I ensured justice. That is the satisfaction. But how many of us are today thinking in terms of that? If what I hear about fees being paid and received by lawyers is correct, I don't know where that mission ends and where the mercenary part starts. There were lawyers who used to say, well, this is my fee regardless of the stakes of the counsel. We have that system in America where, you see, you may have a percentage in the subject matter also, but not so in India. It's unethical. And therefore, to charge a fee not because your time is worth that much, but because the stakes involved are very high, may itself be something which is under a question mark. So I think there's so much which the bar has to do in this matter. Abraham Lincoln said something similar. He said, "Discourage litigation. Persuade your neighbors to compromise whenever you can. Point out to them how the nominal winner is often a real loser. in fees, expenses, and waste of time. As a peacemaker, the lawyer has a superior opportunity of being a good man. There will still be business enough. I remember when Mr. Chandihok was opposing mediation in Delhi, the apprehension among the members of the bar was, if cases get settled in the mediation center, what will we do? Where from will we earn our livelihood? What is this mediation center? These judges have brought something which is going to take away our bread and butter. But that is not so. Even Lincoln said, no, that is not so. Gandhi said, that is not so. And your experience would have shown, Chandihok Sahab, that is not so, isn't it? I don't think any lawyer in Delhi can today say, because of the mediation center, I have lost my bread and butter. Nobody can say that. If one case is settled, the parties may be encouraged to bring in another one to you so that that is also settled. It may spread a message that you are a good counsel, an honest counsel. And therefore, the bar's role, I think, is equally important. I am struck by the fact that both of them, both Gandhi and Lincoln, mentioned two aspects. One, the lawyers lost nothing by it, but gained considerably. Two, that mediation was the higher function of the lawyers. When a lawyer becomes a mediator, he acquires several dimensions. I don't know how many of our lawyer brothers are here, but I think this needs to be very clearly appreciated and absorbed by them. He is the controller of the process. He gains the esteem of both sides and of the community. He gets the satisfaction of doing good work. If his interest leads him to be a professional mediator, then he has expanded the horizons of his career. And perhaps more importantly, he acquires the mantle of a peacekeeper. The Bible in the book of Matthew says, "Blessed are the peacekeepers, for they are the children of God." Even a lawyer who assists his client in mediation will benefit from client satisfaction. The role of the lawyer in mediation is an important one. Lawyers are advisors to their clients. Disputants look to the lawyers for counsel and redress, etc. When mediation takes its place in the panoply of dispute resolution methods, we have expanded our legal system. For centuries, we only used adversarial tools to decide cases. Now we are acquiring the skills of using consensual means to resolve cases. We are doing so in a way that there is no conflict between these two methods of dispute resolution. When we apply the principles of appropriateness and distinguish and demarcate the cases suitable for adjudication and those suitable for mediation, we have achieved a completeness and harmony in the working of our legal system. To my mind, the marriage of the adversarial and the consensual is a revolution in the life of the law, as important as the industrial revolution and the technological one. As we change things and as change comes upon us, our courthouses also change their appearances. We will of course have our traditional litigation courtrooms. Now we also house mediation centers. We are starting court-annexed mediation facilities, arbitration facilities. We can look at early neutral evaluation. Perhaps retired judges can undertake judicial settlement. It would be an excellent way of using their rich experience and esteem. A judge must, however, move from being the decider to the facilitator. That done, parties will welcome the air of benign authority. We must then move, we would then have, as Frank Sanders said in the 1970s in his speech at the path-breaking Pound Conference, multi-door courthouse, and thus we would have responded to the complexity of the conflict. But as all things in life, some cautions must be administered. We should be careful against using mediation where it is not indicated, especially when it can perpetuate a severe imbalance of negotiating power. We should guard against its abuse for delaying proceedings in court and to gain confidential information. We should be watchful for a fall in quality or competence among mediators and avoid these by proper selection, good training, and mentoring. We also need measures to certify those who undertake mediation for a fee. We cannot afford to have unregulated practitioners freely using the term mediator. Similarly, we should have guidelines for regulating institutes for training. The legislative provisions of mediation should also need to be enshrined re-examined in the light of our experience. But most of all, we must realize that mediation depends on trust in the mediator. A deficit of integrity in one mediator can do more harm than 100 cases where no settlement is reached. We have started the court-annexed mediation, but that can only take us so far. Mediation has to take deeper roots and wider coverage for it to achieve its potential and take its rightful place in the legal system. It must become desirable, viable, and sought-after profession. When the benefits of mediation are properly appreciated, there will be a large demand for quality mediators. Such demand can only be satisfied when mediation becomes a full-fledged professional activity, providing opportunity and reward to its practitioners. But beyond court-annexed centers and beyond professional mediators, I see a larger role for this process. Conflict is so much a part of current society. We see it every day when we open the newspapers. It comes streaming through the television and the internet. We judges see it in every case bundle that we open. We need to spread this message of consensus and peace building. I can think of 4 initiatives. 1, to teach children that conflict does not have to be disabling or destructive. Here I would like to tell a little story. Now you hear the story, it is interesting. The Parent-Teacher Association of a school asked a leading mediator of international disputes why he couldn't do something about school children fighting during recess. It happens, they fight over a ball, they fight over some other, reason. He took up the challenge. In a corner of a classroom, he placed 2 cardboard feet across each other and wrote 3 things on the wall. When children were caught fighting, the teachers took them to this corner, made the 2 children stand on these pairs of cardboard feet facing each other and asked them to carry out the 3 things written on the wall. The first was, listen to the other. Each child had to give the other the chance to speak without interruption and pay attention. The next thing was, think of something good for you and good for the other. For little children, it would be that you play with my marbles today and you lend me your cricket bat tomorrow. The third that was written on the wall was, shake hands before you leave. So at the feet, the issue was resolved. The best part of the story is yet to come. Initially, the teachers had to be watchful to spot the fight and take the children to the feet. But after some time, it was noticed that a fight would break out between 2 children and suddenly one would say to the other, let's go to the feet. It became a process. Once you cultivate that, they would say, all right, without anybody's intervention, they would say, let us go to the feet and resolve it there. This is the defining moment when children learn that conflict can be handled respectfully, productively, and by themselves. To imprint this message in a child's mind is to ensure a more peaceful society in future. 4, mediation should form an important component of teaching in law. We need community mediation because it is only by talking and communicating and understanding each other's perspectives that we can find elusive peace. 4, ours is a world of shrinking resources and increasing conflicts. There are divisions over natural resources such as land and water, over religion and religious issues, over ideological divisions, and so on. There must be an alternative to violent resolution, and mediation offers hope to be one such alternative. I look forward to a future where mediation increasingly becomes the norm for conflict resolution. This may be seen as optimistic, but then in these troubled times, optimism is a moral duty. In conclusion, I see that this International Mediation Conference brings together leaders and practitioners from different parts of the world. You will have much to discuss, and it appears that the deliberations cover a large range of mediation subjects: court-annexed, community, grassroots, cross-border, commercial, government, public policy, mediations. While the fundamentals of mediation practice are common, there will be differences in operating paradigms flowing out of culture, behavioral patterns, and locational settings. My brother Khairje mentioned culture. Cultural beliefs, cultural trappings, cultural inclinations and convictions are very, very important when it comes to solving problems. I'm glad to see so many mediators here from different parts of the world and from the different parts of this country with their peers and seniors from abroad. This conference will be a milestone for mediation in India. I wish your deliberations all success. I hope our friends from abroad will have a chance to enjoy a bit of Indian culture and heritage, and I wish all of you all the best. Thank you very much, and God bless you.
Thank you very much indeed, sir, for that wonderful keynote address. And now, ladies and gentlemen, may I request Ms. Geeta Ravindra to kindly do the honors of presenting gifts as a token of gratitude to our Honorable Chief Guest, Honorable Mr. Justice T.S. Thakur, Judge Supreme Court of India. Thank you very much indeed, sir, for gracing this occasion. To our guest of honor, Honorable Mr. Justice J.S. Kheher, Judge Supreme Court of India. To Mr. Jim Selknut, immediate past President, American Bar Association, and to Mr. Reno Sorial, Secretary of UNCTRAL and Director of the International Trade Law Division of the Office of Legal Affairs of the United States. And may I now request Mr. Nuranjan Bhatt, President, Association of Indian Mediators, to kindly do the honors of presenting a token of gratitude to our Honorable Chief Guest, Honorable Mr. Justice T.S. Thakur. To our guest of honor, Honorable Mr. Justice J.S. Kheher, Judge Supreme Court of India. Thank you, sir, for gracing the occasion. To Mr. Jim Selknut, immediate past President, American Bar Association. And also to Mr. Reno Sorial, Secretary of UNCTRAL. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Bhatt, for doing the honors. And now, ladies and gentlemen, I have the privilege in requesting Mr. Chandeok, Vice President, AIM, to kindly propose the vote of thanks. Please put your hands together to welcome.
My Lord Justice Thakur, Justice Kheher, the immediate past President of the American Bar, Secretary UNCTRAL, my esteemed Honorable Judges from the Honorable Supreme Court of India, Chief Justice, Delhi High Court, Honorable Judges from Delhi High Court, Honorable Chief Justice from Singapore, and many other parts of the country, my co-mediators, dignitaries, guests, my dear friends and colleagues. I get this honor today before you to propose this vote of thanks to all of you for making this summit possible. When we began the spade work of this summit, we were both skeptical and hopeful. For the first, because it was the first of its kind, and we were making 18 countries come together to India. Hopeful because we had vision. We had a team which was highly optimistic, like the subject itself. Mediation is highly optimistic and a creative subject with ever-widening scope for the qualitative expansion. Slowly things started moving in place, and you see the present form finally emerged. Let me take this opportunity to thank our Chief Guest, my Lord Justice T.S. Thakur, for his illuminating keynote address. I only wanted to tell His Lordship that at least Delhi has contributed to some extent, maybe only a drop in the ocean. And I have the proud privilege to tell Your Lordships that every Chief Justice that has come to Delhi High Court, including the present one sitting before you, has given us a pat on our back to see that the mediation movement is taken forward. On any given day, we have 60 matters listed, sir, before our mediators. And I'm also proud to tell you, sir, many of them are doing pro bono this right from the beginning. So what you gave us in 2 rooms in 2006, we have 32 rooms today for mediators to work at. That is the progress that we made. Of course, it's only a drop in the ocean. We have now started pre-litigation mediation, my lords, and we are now inviting people to our mediation center so that we can resolve their conflicts, because that is the only way we can move forward. The bar is committed so far as I can take responsibility to the extent I can. I'm sure we have gone, sir, from Chandigarh to right up to Allahabad, Dehradun, almost every part of the country today, to create mediation movement. And though we are right, Shri Ram was the first one to lay the foundation of that in New Delhi also, apart from Chennai. But as we see in our court ourselves, even our mediation center takes the lead. And the Lordship has said, thank you for your words to say we are today the best in the country. And I have no hesitation in accepting with humility that probably one of the best in the world today. Because the complexity of litigation that we are getting, the problems that we are looking at, I think you will not be able to get in many other parts of the world. Just to give you an example, my lord, I saw a friend of Queen's Counsel in London whom I had to meet, said, I can't see you because I have a trial going on of a motor accident case. So I only went back to him to say, on any given day, I think every honorable judge who is doing MNCT cases must be doing 3 trials at the same time, and a lawyer must be doing 10 trials a day. So one trial in after 3 months is no trial. But notwithstanding our population, my lords, notwithstanding our deficiencies, I must tell you, sir, today it's a proud thing to see that our judgments of your lordships from the Supreme Court, from our high courts, are today cited in every part of the world. And let me give you an example, my lord. Only yesterday, I had the privilege to send to the Chief Justice of Pakistan judgments on public trust created by our lordships and our high courts. So that is the position today, that we are all over. And so far as the bar is concerned, my lord, I don't think there's any law firm in the world today which does not have an Indian lawyer on its desk. So this is how we progress, notwithstanding our population is increasing. But I can assure you, so far as lawyers are concerned, they'll make their inroads everywhere. And one day you will be proud to say the bar all over the world is the same, which means the Indian bar. But thank you being with us. Your words will be a source of inspiration to us. We pledge to you, we shall move forward in the directions and the path that you've laid to us for today. We thank you for your valuable time. You are not too well, but still found your time to be amongst us. We shall always cherish these moments that we have spent with you. My Lord Justice Kher said, I am not a mediator, but probably every day in his court one finds. In fact, my Lordship will remember I was appearing before his Lordship asked me, you think me to be somewhere connected with mediation, why don't you mediate into it? So that's how the mediation movement has moved. Your words today, sir, of culture, only to tell you an example, sir, I had a dispute before me of a Sikh and a Muslim, sir, and the dispute was resolved when the Muslims started reciting orally Sukhmani Sahib. That is the culture blending today of this country. We have been able to bring that harmony into this, whatever little we can. I'm sure notwithstanding all conflicts, we shall be able to reach our milestones. I am not very pessimistic on this issue, notwithstanding the number of judges being less, notwithstanding that we are not able to find resources, notwithstanding the infrastructure is poor. I assure my lords, both bench and bar will take up pledge, will move hand in hand, and will reach to the consumer of justice easily, speedily, and at lesser cost. On the question of fee being charged by lawyers, my lord, I only wanted to bring to your lordship's notice. I had made a representation, I remember when my last tenure as the president of the bar, 2014, if I'm not wrong, saying that you may designate lawyers as senior advocates, but before it actually operates, please ask him to serve 2 years pro bono in some organization, like wherever he can, like a legal service authority or somewhere else, to serve the poor. We have a bar association which also provides legal aid to serve there before it actually comes into operation. I hope the rules are being considered and will be taken note of this. But notwithstanding everything else, the fact that we have been able to bring justice to a consumer of justice to this level, there are other situations which can't hold me today. I'm already late in the day. But to request your Lordship to consider that we must restore the jurisdictions to our high courts rather than taking first appeals to the Supreme Court, which will also lessen our dockets there. That's one of the suggestions I've made already to the Law Commission. As a law officer of the country, I'd made it to the government also, that let no appeals, first appeals go to the Supreme Court, and therefore let the high courts get that strength. Mr. Jim and Mr. Ronald, the Secretary of UNCTRAL, the fact that you came all the way, sir, joined hands with us to have this summit, we thank you profusely for being your presence and for your words today, sir. Thank you very much. All honorable judges of the Supreme Court here, we all know them here. Isn't it, sir, a great coincidence? Or should I say the commitment to the cause of mediation, that all of them were born, brought up in Delhi High Court and today are adorning the Supreme Court. So it's the flag of Delhi High Court, my Lord, which is actually talking of mediation even in the Supreme Court. And they're here with you to lend us this support for this great day of this summit. Thank you, sir, each one of you, for giving your time to be part of us and be here with you. We truly thank you for all your coming. My Lord the Chief Justice Delhi, I must confess to your Lordships that normally one goes to a Chief Justice to say you must attend a summit. But you gave me a pleasant surprise this time, to ringing me up to say, yes, I shall be there. I'm thankful to you from the core of my heart, on behalf of each one of us, all of our co-organizers, to have made this effort and be with us today. It means great to us. And how many judges should I name here? Each one of them has laid the foundation of mediation in this country, especially in Delhi. I thank all honorable judges from Delhi High Court who are here. I thank you, my Lord Chief Justice Singapore, to travel all the way to Delhi to be part of the summit. I'm sure your experiences at Singapore will help us move forward in this direction. And let me also not miss words. Our prime partner, Dispute Resolution Section of American Bar Association, we cannot merely cover our gratitude to them in few words. Between us, this is a beginning. Thanking them would be thanking us. Therefore, I do not want to put my words to thoughts, and only thank the Honorable Past President and, of course, Geeta, for being the pioneer to bring this summit to New Delhi. I am sure your experience will compel you, if I can use that expression rightly, to come back to New Delhi or come back to this country. We are vast and big, our hearts are wide, and I can assure you, it doesn't need a cardiologist to do so, notwithstanding your husband is a cardiologist. We shall be able to mend our ways, and we'll look forward to greater gathering, look forward to greater interaction with you and all members of the American Bar and all our present. We sincerely thank our co-organizers, and also I must make a special mention of Mr. Sandeep Tandon and Mr. Bhaskar Neha from Habitat, and Mr. Balu, you must have seen him going up and down, who shared every burden of us day in and day out. Thank you, Balu, for doing what you have done to us. I thank all the law firms and all our advisors or sponsors who have just come forward to help us in this summit. Finally, on behalf of American Bar and AIM, I thank the participants, our distinguished guests, without whose participation this summit would not have been no meaning. Thank you all. Look forward for many reunions across the globe, especially in India. I must mention, it will be wrong on my part to do that one amongst our team in India, AIM, Mrs. Sadhana Ramchandran, who despite being indisposed, helped us in this juncture. I thank her and pray to her in this gathering. May God her recover her soon and we find her smiling back with us. Thank you all once again. thank each participation. We are looking forward for good deliberations in days to come and enjoy India, especially Delhi. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much indeed, sir, for kindly proposing the vote of thanks. I'm sure it is being seconded by each one of us present here. And on that note, ladies and gentlemen, once again inviting Ms. Geeta Ravindra to kindly thank the members of the Planning Committee.
Thank you all so much. Words cannot describe how incredibly powerful and inspirational and thought-provoking all of our presentations have been this evening. While I completely appreciate we have gone a bit beyond the time in our schedule, I must please thank the members of the Core Planning Committee who were so instrumental to developing this summit. So I will please request, as I call them, to please come to the stage to be recognized. Mr. David Mora, Director of the ABA Dispute Resolution Section. I will be presenting to each of our guests, our core planning members, a small token of appreciation for their kind support. And I'll just show one and then continue. It is a beautiful jade elephant. Elephants, as many of you have probably noted, are incredibly auspicious to us in India. So this is what we'll be providing. Mr. Victor Schachter, founder and director of the Foundation for Sustainable Rule of Law Initiatives. Careful. Yes, sorry.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Geeta.
Mr. Sriram Panchu, vice president of the Association of Indian Mediators. Mr. Amarjit Chandiok, Vice President of the Association of Indian Mediators. Mr. Joao Ribeiro, Head of UNCITRAL, Regional Center, Asia Pacific. Mr. Charles Crumpton, co-chair of the American Bar Association Dispute Resolution Section's International Committee. Ms. Beth Trent is not yet arrived. She is vice president of the International Institute for Conflict Prevention and Resolution, and we want to again thank her so much for her support. Professor Hal Abramson, professor at Touro Law Center, New York. Sheila Purcell, director and clinical professor of the Center for Negotiation and Dispute Resolution at the University of California, Hastings School of Law. Professor Rajesh Sharma, professor at the City University, Hong Kong. Ms. Nadja Alexander, Director of Conflict Coaching International. Mr. George Lim, Deputy Chairman, Singapore International Mediation Center. And Ms. Nina Mocheva with the Financial Sector Specialist, World Bank Group. Let's give them all a warm round of applause. I cannot even begin to share with you how many hours we have spent together in preparation for this program. Many late night and early morning phone calls, but we've had such tremendous teamwork, and I am sincerely grateful and indebted to all of you for your extraordinary commitment for this conference. And I am always going to cherish the wonderful relationships and friendships I have developed. Oh, Laurie. Oh, my forgiveness. Miss Lila Olapali, forgive me. She is the founder of the Center for Advanced Mediation in Bangalore. My apologies. So, in addition to this incredibly talented core group of colleagues from around the globe, I must also thank the leadership of the American Bar Association Dispute Resolution Sections Council. Sections Council has supported me throughout the last 18 months in this vision of developing this summit, and they have also been a financial supporter of this summit, helping to provide scholarship funds to enable broad participation. I'm so thankful and grateful for the participation and attendance